All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Lal, and we're going to commence with our state expedited accusation calendar. This is, oh my goodness, let me just fix something on the screen and then I'll be right with you. I'm sorry. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Okay, as I was saying, this is the Fulton State Expedited Accusation Calendar. And this is a list of misdemeanor cases in which individuals were recently arrested and charged with one or more misdemeanor offenses. Upon being charged, then the prosecutor, which is the Fulton County Solicitor General's office, has already formally accused the defendant of one or more misdemeanor offenses. When I call your case, I will be addressing what is your accusation or formal case number, your next court date, to advise you of what the charges are going to be, and appoint counsel, as well as to address your bond. And yes, some of you will get a court date if it's applicable to your case. If you are a defendant charged with one or more misdemeanor offenses, please remember this. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. And just give me a minute. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to organize my screen here. All right. And if it's applicable, the next court date for some of the cases will be September 29 at 9 a.m. in courtroom G33. And most of the cases will be addressed via Zoom.
I'm sorry, Judge, I didn't get that. Which day?
September 29, Mr. Bartell?
29. All right, thank you.
Yes, and I got your message about the waiver of appearance. So whenever we address that case, we will take that up towards the tail end of the calendar, okay?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, courtroom 2, who do we have, please?
Good afternoon, Judge Law. This is going to be position 5, Mr. Menon.
All right, we have Mr. Rahul Menon, and this is case number 22 CR 006-286F.
That is my case, Judge.
All
Also,
right.
Judge, he has
Yes.
his family in the gallery.
Understood. Thank you. Mr. Menon is accused of possession of a false identification document and driving improper erratic lane change. Mr. Menon, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Paul Bartell. Mr. Tucson, good afternoon. How are you, sir?
Good. First
All right,
arrest.
I got it. Thank you. Mr. Bartell, this is a first arrest.
Yes, Your Honor.
ASG, is it Miss Shawanda Brown?
It is, Judge.
All right, Miss Brown, good afternoon. How are you this Saturday?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Any inclination towards a signature bond?
Yes, Judge. The recommendation on this one is a $2,500 signature bond, $2,000 on the false ID, and $500 for the erratic lane change, Judge. As you've seen in the warrant, basically he crossed over the fog light, and when the officer asked for ID, he gave a false Illinois license, Judge. And this happened in Fulton County.
Understood. Thank you. Mr. Bartell, I'm going to grant the state's request. Anything else to add?
Nothing, Judge. We would just concur. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Menon, on the the false ID charge, your bond is going to be $2,000. On the erratic lane change is $500. That's a $2,500 signature bond, which means you don't have to pay for your bond today, which I'm sure you should be amply grateful to your family. Otherwise, you'll be in great debt to them.
Yes.
But in the meantime, the conditions to your bond is no driving unless you have a valid, genuine driver's license, adequate insurance, and proper registration with regards to any vehicle you operate. If you get arrested again in the future, your signature bond will be revoked and converted to a cash bond or a surety bond. Your next court date will be sent to you at your current residential address, so make sure that your address with the court is current.
Okay,
Understood?
I understand. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next case,
Thank
please.
you, Judge.
Judge,
Good afternoon. John, is that signature bond through the jail or through pretrial?
Through pretrial. He'll be reporting to pretrial once a month.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
hold on, I'm gonna explain it to you. You're done. Position 2, Davis.
All right, I have Melvin Marquise Davis, and Mr. Davis' case is 22 CR 006-283A. Mr. Davis, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Mr.
Coleman.
Daryl Coleman. Yes, Mr. Coleman, welcome. I haven't seen you in a while on a Saturday, so you drew the short straw for today. All right. And Mr. Davis's charge is simple battery domestic violence. And his attorney is Mr. Coleman. Mr. Tucson, any priors?
2020 bench warrants for failure to have license on person, no proof of insurance, unregistered vehicle, operating without current license plate, and decal. 2009 marijuana possession dismissed. He's a resident of Tuscaloosa,
All right,
Alabama.
thank you. Ms. Falk, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. So
Alright.
the state is recommending a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with Tanya, that is TON_YAE, Curry, CURRY, and 9-year-old AT. And I can put that in the chat to the litigation manager.
Okay,
We are also recommending no alcohol, drugs, or weapons and 1-day anger awareness. The location at which this happened, 4055 Butternut Place, South Fulton. The Miss Curry appeared to have been in the process of moving out back in January when this occurred. So we are not asking for a stay away at this time, but as Your Honor knows, when the Miss Curry was in the process of moving out, the defendant became very agitated, started yelling at her about why she was there, and then bit her on the lip, as well as when her 9-year-old child tried to intervene, pushed her down the stairs and then left.
is she still there? Do you know?
Not to my knowledge, Your Honor. Again, she was
Okay.
in the process of moving out in January 2022. We did attempt to make contact, but weren't able to do so. I will state that the state does have some concerns because the defendant is not a resident of Georgia, had a dangerous drug arrest back in 2010, and as pretrial stated, his residential address is in Alabama. So for those reasons, we are asking for a surety bond, as well as the fact that this happened in the presence of a child. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Coleman?
Your Honor, I would be requesting a signature bond from Mr. Davis. I did not get any paperwork on Mr. Davis. I believe that this warrant is from maybe back in January of this year.
You're right.
Mr. Davis is 36 years of age. He's resided in Atlanta, Fulton County on and off for the last 12 years. He did attend some college. He is an Army veteran, having served 4 years. He is currently employed as an audio engineer. I did not hear any violence in his criminal history. I would be requesting a signature bond on Mr. Davis's behalf.
All right. The bond is going to be set at $3,500. That's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. He will report to pretrial once a month. He is not to have any contact with TON, TON_YAE Curry. No alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. He's also to have no contact with a minor identified as AT. That's the abbreviation AT. If Miss Curry has already vacated the premises, he may then return to the same residence where he lives or where the incident location is. He will return to that location after he's been released with a police officer who verifies that Miss Curry does not live at the premises. If Miss Curry is still living there, he would have to find another place to live. Do you understand, sir? Mr. Davis, do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. She no longer lives there. No, neither do I. Now stay with my cousin.
All right, yes, it happened in January, so I don't know if she's moved out, and if she has, then you can return to the location. You have to report to pretrial once a month. You cannot afford to get arrested again, otherwise this bond will be revoked and amended to a surety bond or cash bond. While you are out on bond, you must make sure that you also update us with any change of address in the event that you do move out, and that you are to complete a 1-day anger awareness program with the Fulton County Pretrial Services. Do you have any questions about your bond?
No, ma'am.
All right, that concludes this case. Thank you.
This is per
Thank you, Your
judge.
Honor.
Oh, yes. Yes, Ms. Champion, please make a note that this is per judge. Thank you. All right, next case, please.
Position 7, Morgan.
This is case number 22 CR 006-285F. This is Mr. Isaias Tyon Morgan. Am I butchering your name, Mr. Morgan?
Hey,
ISIS, okay. Mr. ISIS is charged with willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer from August 22nd, 2022. He does have a companion case which is 22 CR 005-993F. And we are most likely going to make sure that both cases move along together. Okay, Mr. Morgan, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Paul Bartel.
Yeah, Your Honor, on the other case, the loitering, is that on the calendar? It looks like he's already posted bond on that.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Is it on the calendar?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe he's posted on that one.
Yeah, I think he's posted a bond. That's not showing on the jail screen.
Yeah, Jet Bonding Company.
Yes,
$1,000.
it's not on my calendar, so he posted bond, so that case is going to be further notice. It's the obstruction that's holding him in.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay.
And that case was addressed at a prior SEA.
Oh, okay. So he's already got a bond on that one. But in the current case, Mr. Tucson, other than that other open case, what other matters does Mr. Morgan have?
2021 probation for robbery by sudden snatch. Entering auto. That was out of that's 18 SC 157-637. He got first offender for those in 2018. Says he has a whole. Is that the same thing as this charge?
You know, I looked into that and I couldn't tell, but I think that is for the same charge that is on the calendar today, the obstruction. It's a warrant from East Point.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Howard?
No.
All right, thank you. Ms. Brown?
Judge, on this case, we are recommending a $2,000 surety bond, a gun safety class, stay away from the East Point Food Mart, which is at 286 Main Street. A curfew on Mr. Morgan, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, Judge. The surety bond we're asking for in part is due to what was mentioned by pretrial services. He was placed on first offender probation back in 2018. I believe he has completed that first offender, but Judge, I believe it was just completed in July. And here in September, he's running from an officer with a gun in his waistband. And that did happen in Fulton County. So for those reasons, we're asking for, and I believe he had just to add on to that, he had a subsequent violation of probation before it actually ended. So for those reasons, we're asking for the $2,000 surety bond.
Thank you. Mr. Bartel?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. I have spoken with Mr. Morgan. He is 22 years old. I have looked over the warrant, and I know that the court is not going to revisit that, but I think, you know, he likely could have a good argument regarding a suppression in terms of his detention. With the gun, you know, as everybody knows, it is legal to carry a firearm. I'm not aware of any reason it would not be legal for him at this point with the probation being over. But having said all that, he is employed full-time. I'm advised he has started a job at Bar Taco and Vinings. That's a full-time position. I'm advised that he has family in the area, including his brother and sister and his aunt, who he also lives with. So based on all of that, we would ask for a signature bond, or if he doesn't qualify for that, we would ask for $1,000 good bond.
All right, thank you. Bond is set at $1,500. It's a surety bond. No further violent contact with any law enforcement officer. His next court date is September 29, and we're going to address both the cases on September 29, which is going to be this particular case ending in 6285F and his other case ending in 5993F. They're both 22 CR cases. So Ms. Champion, if we can place both cases on the SAP calendar for September 29th. Now, of course, if he makes bond, then both cases will be further notice for trial.
And Judge, if we could do a stay away from the East Point Food Mart, since the allegation was that he may have been selling drugs out there or forcing people to buy drugs.
Well, do we have a drug charge against him? Is there another open case, felony or otherwise?
There's not an open drug case on it, Judge, but just based on what the officer said about smelling the marijuana, I would just make the request that he stay away from the East Food Point Mart.
You know, Miss Brown, I entered my daughter's apartment building and I smelled marijuana everywhere as well. So I'm not going to go there.
I didn't know people had to be forced to buy drugs, Your Honor.
All right, folks.
I didn't hear that
I'm not
very
going to do a
often.
stay away, but if he doesn't make bond, we'll see him on September 29th. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Judge.
Position 10 and 11, Warner.
This is Jessica Denise Warner. And Ms. Warner, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Bartel. You have two separate cases with us this afternoon. The first one is 22 CR 006-287B, in which you've been accused of battery domestic violence from January 23rd, 2022. The second case is 22 CR 006-288B, in which you've been accused of two counts of disorderly conduct. Mr. Tucson, any priors, please?
6 total. Last arrest was 2021. Felony shoplifting. Possession of a Schedule 1. That's open in Cobb. Before that was 2011. Identity theft fraud out of Decatur. 2010 forgery and a first-degree arrest. That's it.
All right.
And she has a Cobb hold too.
All right, and that's the felony hold, right?
Yeah, it says probation violation.
All right, thank you. Ms. Brown?
Yes, Judge, I'll start with the disorderly conduct. The recommended bond on that is a 3,000 surety, a stay away from the Church's Chicken, located at 3561 Martin Luther King Drive. That is in Fulton County. No further contact with the victims in this case, and that would be Miss Henderson, Miss Melissa Henderson, and Miss Santana, Santana Born, BORN. The reason for the surety bond, Judge, is, as you've seen in the warrant, is alleged that she appeared at the Church's Chicken threatening to fight with a knife, Judge. And so that's the reason for the surety bond on the request for the surety bond on that one. Do you want me to go on to the next case, Judge?
Yes, please.
On the next one, the family violence battery, Judge, we're also asking for a 3,000 surety bond on that one. No further violent contact. This victim in that case is her mother, Lisa Warner, LISAWARNER. A stay away from 109 Dogwood Drive, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and 1 day anger management, Judge. In that case, she's accused of physically assaulting her mother, leaving a visible scratch on her right shoulder. And that did happen in Fulton County as well. The mother did express that she had some concerns about potential drug abuse. And that's part of the reason for the surety bond, as well as the stay away, Judge, and light of her having an open case for possession of a Schedule 1 controlled substance out of Cobb.
Thank you. Mr. Bartel?
Let me correct something real quick. The Cobb is a FTA warrant, and she has a probation violation out of Worth County.
Okay, so the Cobb County is a felony.
It just says
Isn't it a
FTA.
felony
I'm
theft
not
by
sure.
shoplifting?
Possibly. I'm not sure. It just says failure to appear. I
What
don't
I-
have the full printout of the warrant.
Ms. Brown, do you have any information about the Cobb County case?
What based on her her GCIC,
Oh, I
it looks
got
like a felony because it's a possession of a Schedule 1 controlled substance. That is the felony. The theft by shoplifting, I'm not sure if I'll have to look at it and see if that's a felony or misdemeanor, but they're attached. It's one case.
Okay,
Hey, I have it. The Cobb says failure to appear larceny from a building. The date of that warrant is May 17th, 2022.
all right, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Bartel?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Warner is 36 years old. As the court knows, she does have the two cases here before us. She does dispute the allegations in both warrants. I did explain to her that this, is not a trial or an evidentiary hearing, but she does want the court to know that she works full time. She's employed by Manning Security. She has extended family in the Metro Atlanta area. I'm told that her mother, her sister, her brother, and aunts and uncles all live in the Metro Atlanta area. Regarding the battery family violence, I did speak with her mother, Mrs. Warner, and she told me that Ms. Warner, Ms. Jessica Warner's daughter, often stays with her, so she is okay with a no further violent contact because they do want to, transfer her daughter during visits. But she just would ask that Ms. Warner not come to her home unless it's to drop off or pick up her daughter. We just wanted the court to be aware of that. Regarding bond, as I said, she is employed full-time. She does have community ties. She does want to request the signature bond. If the court is not inclined to do that, we would ask for, on number 10, we'd ask for a $1,500 bond. And then number 11, $1,000 bond, which would be $500 for each count. I believe those would be sufficient to assure her appearance.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
On position 10, the bond is going to be set at 1,500. That's going to be a surety bond. And no further contact with Lisa Warner. She's also to stay away from 109 Dogwood Drive in Northwest Atlanta, apartment E, which means she has to stay 200 yards away from that location, 200 yards away from Mrs. Warner, and not contact her in any way, form, or manner. Miss Jessica Warner may return to the Dogwood Drive location one time only with a police officer to retrieve her daughter, as well as to retrieve any personal belongings. I will allow for third-party transfer of the minor child if Miss Jessica would like Miss Lisa to look after her granddaughter. So the only way she can drop off her daughter with the grandmother is through a third party. Miss Jessica Warner herself cannot go to Lisa Warner's place.
Okay, do you understand that, Ms. Warner? Okay.
No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, no firearms. She will report to pretrial once a month. Oh, excuse me, she will not, this is a surety bond. No, there's no reporting to pretrial. The second case, position 11, is going to be $1,000 surety on each count. That's a $2,000 surety bond. She is to stay away from the Church's Chicken Restaurant at 3165 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. She's to have no further contact with Melissa Henderson. And I'm sorry, the last name, the other alleged victim I heard was Centena Bone.
Born, B-O-R-N.
B-O-U-R-N-E?
No, B-O-R-N.
Okay, Born, all right. And again, no alcohol, no drugs, and no weapons. With respect to both cases, there will be further notice for September 29. So Ms. Warner, in order to bond out on both cases, you would have to put up a $3,500 surety bond. And if you do make bond, make sure that you update us with your new address within 30 days of being released so that we can send you the summons to appear in court at a future date. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Position 8, North.
I have Kenny North. Case number is 22 CR 006284E. Mr. North is accused of battery, domestic violence from August 18th, 2020. Mr. North, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Maureen McLeod. And Mr. Tucson, any priors?
Yeah, hold on. This is third adult arrest. Last was 2018, armed robbery, FTAs. Ag assault with intent to rob. Possession
Is
of
that still from 2018?
He's on probation for all of this.
Okay,
You want the case number?
yes, please.
15 SC 135 060. They gave him 15 years probation in 2018.
All right,
That's it.
Ms. Brown?
Judge, on this case, our recommendation is a $5,000 surety, no further contact with the victim, also a curfew, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and stay away from 350 Thomasville Boulevard. Although that was an apartment, a particular apartment, outside of a particular apartment, we're asking for the entire apartment complex. Mother of his child was outside minding her own business when he approaches her, and with another young lady, they attack her, causing both of her eyes to be swollen shut as a result of the attack. They have 3 children together, Judge.
All right, thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 24 years old. He is a resident of Atlanta. He is working on his GED, he tells me. He is also gainfully employed. He is the father of 5 children, 3 of whom he shares with the alleged victim. He denies the allegations, Your Honor, and has stated to me that the alleged victim and himself have been involved in a custody dispute. They are both trying to get custody of their children who are currently and have been for some time in the custody of DFACS. And he says that the alleged victim has made up stories concerning him before, but they are not true. They do not live together. He does not have any contact with her, although he continues to see the 3 children that they share through DFACS because she does not have custody of them. Your Honor, this incident allegedly happened almost 2 years ago. My client is not in contact with the alleged victim. He poses no harm to her whatsoever and has had no contact with her for almost 2 years. I would ask the court to give my client a signature bond so he can get out of jail and continue to work to support his children.
All right, thank you.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Unfortunately, this is a significantly serious matter that occurred while he was on felony probation for violent convicted offenses. Bond is going to be set at 2,500. That's going to be a surety bond. This is Mr. Cloud. Okay. Next court date is going to be September 29th. No further contact with Sharia Smith, CHARIA SMITH. I don't know if she's still living at the Thomasville Boulevard apartment complex, but he needs to stay away from that entire location at 350 Thomasville Boulevard. If he does make bond, he is to make sure that he does not have any contact with her and that he maintains the distance from the Thomasville Boulevard. I don't know what kind of legal proceeding that he's undergoing with regards to custody, whether it's stemming from a defects case or a legitimation case.
It's not a legitimation case, Your Honor. What happens that the children were taken away from the complaining witness by DFAC some time ago, and my client is trying to get custody of them. And I believe the complaining witness is also trying to get custody of them, but neither of them currently have custody of the children.
Understood. Well, I guess then hopefully the children are residing with someone who cares for them at the present time, but he may proceed with the legitimation action as long as he lets whoever is the hearing officer know that he has a no further contact order against him with regards to Sharia Smith. No alcohol, drugs, and weapons. His next court date is September 29th. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 1, Curtis.
Position 1, we have Jarnell Curtis, 22 CR 006-279E. And Mr. Curtis is charged with misdemeanor possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce. Mr. Curtis, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Daryl Coleman. Mr. Tucson, are there any other open cases with regards to Mr. Curtis?
Yeah,
I have a 20 CR 002148E.
That's the DUI, false report, and reckless driving.
Okay.
Is
there a companion felony case or a bench warrant?
He got an open felony. It's marijuana with intent, possession of a firearm during the commission, obstruction, and a light violation. 22 SC 180327.
Do you know what the bond is in that case?
I'll look it up real quick. $2,000, $6,000, $3,000.
All right, Ms. Falk, any objection to a $500 signature bond through the jail? And then I'll further notice this case along with the 20 CR 002148E case to the SAP calendar. He's got a bench warrant in that case.
Right, state would request a $500 surety bond because he also has a FTA from September 2022. So we're not loving his risk on bond.
Well, he's got an arrest warrant. He's got no bond in that case. So I'll go with the
Well,
$500.
Actually, what I'm showing in the jail system is he's got a $3,000 surety bond on the 20 CR 006279E case.
Oh, okay. Maybe I missed that one. Sorry, I must have missed it. Okay, yeah, it's going to be a $500 signature bond through the jail on this charge. And we're going to further notice this case along with the 20 CR 002148E to the SAP calendar on September 29th. Mr. Curtis, if you do make bond, please be sure to give us your correct mailing address so that we can send you summons to come back to court the next time.
Yes, ma'am.
And a condition to the bond is no alcohol, no illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. So until we make any progress with regards to the legislature, marijuana is still an illegal drug in the state of Georgia. Not in other states, but Georgia. So as long as you're within our wonderful state, you have to be off that weed. Thank you.
Your Honor, I just wanted to clarify the bonds. It's a, is it a
500 signature bond through the jail. He's
on
got
each
a
one?
3,000 surety on the other case.
So 500 on each one.
There's only one
There's
count.
not in each one. It's just one count of possession of marijuana less than an ounce.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought there was a reckless driving as well. Thank
Oh,
you.
you're thinking of the other case.
Okay, thank you.
And Your Honor, I just want to put on the record, the state did make a recommendation to Mr. Curtis. We are withdrawing that recommendation. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you.
You're done. Position 4, Kursky.
Ms. Shamika Kirksey is accused of possession and use of a drug-related object, case number 22 CR 006-281C. Ms. Kirksey, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Coleman. Mr. Tucson, any priors?
45. Last arrest was October 2021. FTA, possession of a Schedule 2 controlled substance, possession of drug-related objects. August 2021, failure to appear, same charges.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. It looks like she is currently in jail for the possession of Schedule 2 and the possession of drug-related objects case. We were showing her a previous conviction in 2017 of possession of cocaine and 2017 conviction for giving false name. Our recommendation is a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We are requesting an alcohol, drug evaluation and treatment because she does have a number of drug-related cycles and has a number of cycles related to possession of drug-related objects. In this case, as you know, the officer discovered her at 232 Forsyth Street with an object in her hand, asked what it was, and she had a glass pipe. More glass pipes were found on her when she was searched incident to arrest. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Coleman, your client's bond is going to be $1,500. It's a signature bond through the jail. No illegal drugs, no illegal drug objects, no alcohol and no weapons and no firearms. And shall I further notice her to September 29th? She's got a hold.
That would be fine.
All right. Ms. Champion, we're going to further notice this case to September 29th unless she makes bond. Thank you.
And the signature bond is through the jail, or is it through?
Yes,
pretrial
it's through the
services?
jail, but she's got another hold, so we'll most likely address this on the 29th unless she makes bond in the other case too.
State has also made a recommendation on that case and is withdrawing the recommendation as well.
All right. Hopefully it will come back on the table in 2 weeks. Ms. Paul?
Not the same recommendation, but a recommendation, yes.
A recommendation, definitely. I'm just optimistic, that's all. Okay.
Thank you.
By the way, what bond did I set on position 2? I'm so sorry, I can't read my own writing. It
I've
was a
got a
signature bond.
$3,500 SOB.
It's 3,500 SOB pretrial.
Thank you, appreciate it, thank you.
Sure.
All right, and I beg your pardon, position 2, courtroom 2, who was that?
Position 3, Ivory.
Ivory, okay. We have Mr. Montrese Ivory, and his case is 22 CR 6280C. Mr. Montrese, you've been accused of simple battery domestic violence. You have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. McLeod. And Mr. Tucson,
18 total.
did you say 18? 1-8?
Correct. Yes.
Okay,
Got to open 20 CP 196069, ag assault, family violence. On probation, 2 counts of ag assault with a deadly weapon, 17 SC 154768. He got 9 years probation after serving 1 year.
that's good, thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. Our particular concern in this case is not only the defendant's violent history, he has a 2018 conviction for aggravated assault, but the 20 CP case that pretrial services stated to the court, he's currently out on a $25,000 surety bond against the exact same victim in our case, LaWanda Rucker, where he was indicated in the bond to stay away from Miss Rucker, and he was alleged to have placed a knife to Miss Rucker's neck, which he also admitted to the officers according to the warrant that he had done so. In this case, which happened yesterday, in spite of the stay away, the defendant was at 4455 Fulton Industrial Boulevard with Miss Rucker. They had gotten into a verbal altercation. She grabbed the keys, exited the vehicle. He chased her down and got on top of her, began punching her in the face with a closed fist. This was actually observed by witnesses who were in the area who stated they observed the defendant on top of Miss Rucker on the ground. And so the fact remains that had Mr. Rucker obeyed the bond order on July 1st, 2021, we would not be back here today because he should never have had contact with her. And we feel a $2,500 cash bond is appropriate in this situation where there's a violent history, violence against this particular victim, and now we're back here because he failed to obey a court order. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 47 years old. He has been in the Atlanta area since he was a teenager. He is actually married to Miss Rucker. They have been married since March, Your Honor. He denies the allegations completely. He said that what happened, they had an argument. She came out of the car and she had the keys. He said he was just trying to get the keys from her. She wouldn't give up the keys, so he went back to work. They actually work at the same location, Your Honor. So
When were they married?
They were married in March, Your Honor.
Oh, this year?
March of this year, yes.
I see.
They got married
But
in March.
no further
of this
contact
year.
was issued last year.
Yes, Your Honor, but they got
Okay.
married.
I just wanted to be sure.
Yes, they
and-
live together as husband and wife, and they actually work at the same place. It is a bakery. They are both have the same employer. Your Honor, asking him to stay away from his job would cause extreme hardship. He wouldn't be able to work because she also works at the same place. It is, I understand, a fairly big place. It's a huge bakery. So I would just want the court to take that into consideration.
Understood. However, a court order is a court order unless amended. And I'm just looking at that case, I don't see an amendment submitted. I saw a Miss Bell try to zoom in. Is this someone relevant to this case?
I'm
No?
not sure.
Okay. Mr. Ivory, what is most alarming is that you do have a court order that says you are to have no further contact with Miss Rucker. And the fact that you and Miss Rucker got married is, well, I'm sure, congratulations. Unfortunately, The situation is that the order that says no further contact has never been amended. So in addition to having a marriage license signed, you were also supposed to make sure that the no further contact was amended. And by having contact with Miss Rucker, even as your wife, even working with her, you have allegedly violated the no further contact and can be subject to a felony charge of aggravated stalking. Do you understand, sir? Your bond is going to be set at $3,000. It's a cash bond only. You're to have no further contact with LaWanda Rucker. You're to stay away from where she lives. You're to stay away from where she works. You're to stay away from wherever she happens to be. I do appreciate the fact that you're now husband and wife, but when there is a court order, it needs to be amended before you can take any further action with regards to contact with your wife. So absent such an amendment, the bond is set at $3,000, and it's up to the district attorney's office to see if they want to press further charges. Your next court date is going to be September 29th. No alcohol, no drugs, and no weapons. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 9, Powers.
Your Honor, this concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes. Thank you, Ms. McLeod. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
You too, Judge. Thanks.
Just have a seat, Powers. Have a seat.
Francois, this is
Position 9, Powers.
Powers. Okay, I was just. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm using another screen, so I beg your patience. Okay, I have Ryan Powers, accused in case number 22 CR 006282F. And Mr. Powers has been accused of simple battery. This is not a domestic violence matter. And the alleged incident occurred on September 16th, 2022. Mr. Powers, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Paul Bartel. Mr. Tucson?
7 total. Last arrest was July 4th. Simple battery, 2 counts. He's on probation for that. State court, 22 CR 004 300 F as in Frank. At a 2019 arrest in Appleton County. That's for simple battery. And a 09 obstruction conviction. That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Brown?
Yes, Judge, we're requesting a 5,000 surety bond on this, no further contact with the victim. The reason for the bond, the high amount in the surety bond is because this appears to be a random act of violence, which, you know, sometimes we have to be just as concerned with those as we do with the domestic violence incidents. It appears he approached Miss Melissa Rainey and hit her in the head with a closed fist. The officer also says he watched some footage from a nearby store where the defendant hit the victim in the back of the head there too and walked away. And so we're asking for the surety bond. He's on probation for simple battery, a recent simple battery from July. There are 2 felony obstruction convictions in his past. Those are relatively old, but still concerning. And a stay away from the 1820 Peachtree, Atlanta. No
Thank
alcohol,
you.
drugs, or weapons.
All right. Mr. Bartel, I understand your client is residentially challenged. Is there anything you'd like to add?
I have spoken with Mr. Ryan about his case, Your Honor. He is 41 years old. I do believe he understands everything that's going on today. I did not have any concerns regarding that based on the interactions that I have had with them. There's not a whole lot of information about the context of either of these alleged incidents. So I would disagree with trying to speculate on the context or the reason for them, given his fairly limited history, especially no violent felonies. He is disabled. He indicates that he experiences fatigue and is currently attempting to determine the reasons for that and possibly apply for disability. Given all that, I think $1,000 bond amount would be reasonable in this case.
All right, thank you. Bond is set at $1,500. That's going to be a surety bond. Next court date is September 29. No further contact with Miss Melissa Rainey. And Miss Brown, I'm sorry, I didn't write down the incident location. It was out in public, wasn't it?
1820 Peachtree.
1820 Peachtree Street in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Francois, have we concluded with courtroom 2?
No, I just got a quick, yeah, we actually are. I just have a quick announcement for position 6. They waived their appearance and then we're completed in courtroom 2.
All right,
Right,
thank you very much.
that's my case.
Oh, what's the situation with position 4?
Position 4.
Oh, Shamika
Let
Kirksey.
me get her.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah, she got a $1,500.
Write down, okay. All right. All right, Francois, thank you so much.
Thank you, Judge Law.
have a
Have
good
a
one.
good weekend.
You too. All right, Mr. Bartel, we're doing Gregory Moore. You have waived his appearance. His case number is 22 CR 006-289Y. And Mr. Moore is accused of simple battery and battery from January 21st, 2022. Mr. Tucson, any priors on Mr. Moore?
6 total. Last arrest was in 1999 for simple battery.
All right, thank you. Ms. Brown?
Judge, on this one, we're asking for a 5,000 surety. No further contact with the victim, Tyshonda Bell, TIESHOUNDA, B as in boy, ELL. And a stay away from 710 Ira Street, Atlanta in Fulton County. Basically, Mr. Moore was outside of the residence, and when the victim left the residence, he yelled profanities at her and then ultimately struck her in the head with one time in the back of the head.
And I'm assuming that's the alleged victim on the Zoom, Mr. Shonda Bell? Ms. Bell?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good afternoon. Ms. Brown, did you have anything else to add? I've read the warrant, so I just didn't know whether you had anything
Oh, I'm
else.
sorry. No, Judge, I don't.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bell, if you can lower your phone device a tad, I can only see you perfect. Are you in bed?
Sorry.
All right, thank you. All right, Ms. Bell, if you'd like to add anything else to the hearing, I'll be glad to hear from you, but I'll need to place you under oath.
Okay.
Or you want to say something? All right, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
All right. Now, how do you know Mr. Moore? Is he your neighbor?
No, I was just in the neighborhood visiting. Like, it's a older lady, and since I lost my mom, she has been very supportive. So I go and visit, and he be in the area all the time.
Does he live in the area?
No, that's where he hangs out at, I believe.
All right. All right. Thank you. Mr. Bartel?
Yes, Your Honor. As I said, Mr. Moore was not able to be brought over because of a medical situation, but I talked to him. Deputy Norris was kind enough to use a cell phone and allowed me to talk to him in medical. And as we said, he did waive his appearance today. As pretrial indicated, it's been 20-something years since his last arrest. His history does appear to be fairly minimal. And I spoke with him about, he indicated that he and Ms. Bell, they do not have any reason to have regular contact. There would not be a problem with a no further contact order. He is on disability. He indicated that he had a stroke several years ago and is not able to work for that reason. But given his pretrial report, the fact that he qualifies, we would ask for an unsecured judicial release. All
right. On the simple battery is going to be $250, and on the battery $750. His total bond is $1,000. It is a surety bond. He is to have no further contact with Ms. Tyshonda Bell, and I can't see where it says that he lives in that particular location. So I'm going to have him stay 200 yards away from 710 Ira Street, Southwest Atlanta, which means that he cannot be within 200 yards of that location. And of course, he cannot be within 200 yards of Miss Bell. So Miss Bell, if you're visiting your friend again at is it at 710 Ira Street?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and if Mr. Moore makes bond and you see him in the location, you need to immediately go back into your friend's house and call the police.
Okay.
All right, no
Thank you.
alcohol, no drugs, and no weapons, and his next court date is September 29.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, I think that concludes the calendar. We'll just do a quick spin through. Folks, I've been scribbling a lot, so as some of you know, my handwriting is atrocious, so I can't believe I'm saying that on live stream, but there we go. Okay, position number 1 is a $500 signature bond through the jail. Is going to be further notice to September 29th, along with the other case. That was Mr. Curtis. Position number 2 is a 3,500 signature bond through pretrial services, further notice.
Per judge.
Yeah, per judge. Position 3 is a $3,000 cash bond only for the notice September 29. Position 4, Kirksey. All right, Ms. Champion, or someone chime out. What did I say? I know.
$1,500 signature bond through the jail, no alcohol, drugs, weapons, or illegal drug objects.
Okay,
Reset SAP 929.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
with
what
her
I've got.
companion case, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then position 5, Menon is a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial. Position 6 had waived appearance. Its bond set $1,000 surety. Further notice to 9/29. Position 7 is a $1,500 surety bond, 9/29. Position 8 is a $2,500 surety bond, September 29. No, that was position 8. Position 9 was a $1,500 surety bond, further notice to September 29. Position 10 is a $1,500 surety bond, further notice to September 29. And that's and I'm sorry, that was Miss Warner's case. And on her second case, position 11, that was a $2,000 surety bond, further notice for September 29. Any corrections?
That's what I've got, Judge.
All right.
And for me,
Oh, that's
Okay,
it. That matches what I have.
All right, folks, thank you very much. Must be my lucky day to only get 11 cases today, so.
It worked out.
Don't tell Judge Morrow, okay?
We'll pay for it Monday.
Josh. All right, everyone, have a great weekend. And Miss Champion, I'll await your email. Thank you.
You too,
Thanks.
Judge.
Have a